So, I feel like recently I've been talking a lot about Assassin's Creed Ragnarok on the channel, and I'd hate to start milking the game before it's even out. So today I've decided to start milking top 5s. Ubisoft, please just announce the game. Anyway, today I'm just going to be talking about 5 of the things I don't want to return to the Assassin's Creed franchise. Not necessarily just in Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, but the general series. Some of these are more specific to other titles coming in the future, and some of these are applicable to Ragnarok 2 and could be in that game. But anyway, let's just get right into it. Now this is the feature on the list that is by far the least likely to make a return, and that's the rope launcher. You get the rope launcher around sequence 2, I think, of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I believe, and I really don't like the idea of this, and the execution couldn't really save it either. It's something that's been spoken about 1,000 times, but it's something I definitely felt I had to feature in this video given the concept. The idea of having an ability that just does all the rooftop traversal for you just seems a little counterintuitive in a series with such a focus on its parkour and freerunning. And I know that you can of course still do parkour in the game, but these two kinda go hand in hand. It was something that was added to make traversal around London quicker given the wide roads and open spaces in the city at the time, but if a setting doesn't suit parkour, then I don't think it should be featured at all as opposed to just using a workaround. It's a real shame as well, as I really enjoy the parkour and freerunning in both Unity and Syndicate. Now the number 4 spot on this list I put optional objectives. I find these were a thing a lot of people don't mind, but if people do mind them, then they really mind them a lot. And I'm one of those people because I'm a completionist when it comes to games. Every time I played a new Assassin's Creed game for the first time with these in them, I always felt the need to get them full 100%. And when I got my PS4 not too long ago, I decided to 100% all the AC games again, and I had to relive these, and some of these were just terrible. I find they really stop you from just playing things your own way. They feel especially out of place in games like say Syndicate and Unity, which while being linear games allow for much more of your own approach and kind of take away from that if you're the type of person who wants the 100%. And just generally, I really don't like the idea of a game telling you how to play it, as opposed to just letting you play it how you want. And some of these are fine, things like having to not swim can extend a mission a bit, but they're okay. But then some of these objectives in, say, Assassin's Creed 3 can take literal hours to get past, as well as the infamous objectives like not taking damage in the tank in Brotherhood. You know, the thing meant to absorb a lot of damage. Generally, they just force a way of playing onto you, and I'm glad they've been gone for a while now. Now, the number 3 spot is one I feel a lot of people are going to agree with, and that's to have a non-playable modern day, i.e. what we got in Syndicate and Unity. It was a bad idea being a faceless protagonist in Assassin's Creed 4 and Rogue, but then when you aren't a protagonist at all, you feel very disconnected from the game's story. The magical thing about a story in a game is it can integrate gameplay with storytelling, and that's something that's been done fantastically in games like The Last of Us. And then when you're just completely taken away from that, it just completely destroys any sense of enjoyment in a modern day for me. I think the ideal modern day format is something like Brotherhood, where there was just the right amount of it, and you could leave the Animus at any time with the ability to read emails or have NPC interactions with a lot of playability too. After the ends of Fates of Atlantis, the modern day was left on something of a cliffhanger, so we can hope we'll get more of what we got before in Ragnarok, hopefully done better, but that's just me. I hope we never see a non-playable modern day ever again. Now, I've put something a bit more controversial at the number 2 spot, and that's dialogue options. I know a lot of you watching may have enjoyed these, I personally just didn't. I found they didn't really change anything, nor was there any consequence. You can go from conversation to conversation, flip-flopping from nice to evil as much as you like, making each option basically feel pointless because of how flexible you are, at least how it's been done in the past. And I don't think there's one way to do it right either, at least in terms of what I want from a character in Assassin's Creed. Because to have a character that's that flexible and open to being on the extreme end of good or bad, you need a blank canvas, and blank is exactly the word I'd use to describe both Alexios and Cassandra, and as a result of them being so blank, they're also very uninteresting to me. In a game that's this character defined as Assassin's Creed is, it simply doesn't work, and this is all without mentioning any lore discrepancies. I know a lot of people really connected to Cassandra and Alexios, but I just can't. An Assassin's Creed game with dialogue options, especially when they're so prominent to the point where they're a selling point, just doesn't allow for defined characters that I've grown to love over the years, and it's those kinds of characters that I really want to see again. Now, the number one on this list of things I hope don't come back to the series is a choice between Protagonist, and I've put this at the top because it feels like something that definitely could make a comeback, especially with Ubisoft riding on industry trends as much as they do. A lot of the reasons that I don't like a choice in Protagonist are the same reasons as why I don't like dialogue options, and you're in an even worse position if you have both. Having to choose between protagonists either means they'll be exactly the same, making the choice pointless and obvious bait, we haven't seen that before, or the writer could try and write compelling characters for the both of them, dividing their attention. And the thing is, even then it probably wouldn't work and would be far more effort than it's worth. When you have a predetermined story that has to work with one of two characters, you have to change quite a lot to make it feel like it's even worth having the two of them as opposed to just one. In Odyssey, the main difference between Alexios and Cassandra was one was a woman and one was a man, and one was competently voice acted while the other was pulled off the set of a cheap sitcom.
I think it's safe to say that we've all done some things we're not particularly proud of.
Yes, it did show the truth. It confirmed what I always knew. You threw me off a fucking mountain.
But that behavior is beyond the pale and cannot be tolerated. We are no longer friends.
Yet here you are, acting so righteous, when really, you're just like me.
It's very difficult not to make the mistake of them being too similar, like in Odyssey where the gender difference is the only difference and other characters don't even take note of it. I think it's far better for the series to have one well-written, defined character as opposed to running the risk of having two who are subpar at best. Anyway though guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. My content that isn't solely about Ragnarok doesn't tend to do as well, but it's at a point now where there's really not much to talk about and I'd rather not just scrape the bottom of the barrel. So if you enjoy the new kind of stuff I'm doing, then I'd really appreciate if you left a like, and if not, I'd appreciate you letting me know why just as much. Anyway though, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.